Looking again, not much happening for tonight. We do have some haze. That smoke from the wildfires is sticking around, as is the fire threat as we get into the weekend. So we're not seeing anything hardly, excuse me, in the way of any decent amounts of rainfall coming up. That would be nice, but just really not seeing that at this point. And for right now, wish we could give you some better news on that, but it looks like most of the activity is going to be coming up into later on, excuse me, next week. Let me just make certain that we are broadcasting on here, because if we're not, okay, testing. Okay, we're good. All right, got to double check that. For some reason, I don't know why, but this microphone is having issues on Facebook. This one for Twitch appears to be working. Not too sure why exactly, but at least we're on the online and doing things, so looks like everything is working there. Again, those of you just joining us on Facebook, we're just getting started. Got going a little bit early for Weather Overtime on Twitch TV. Questions, concerns, ideas, complaints, if you must, go ahead and drop them into the comments section on Facebook and into the chat function on Twitch. Would love to know what you're thinking. If there's something on here that you would like to see, more satellites, less temperatures, more of this, less of that, say so, because my psychic powers, as John Cleese said, are a little bit below par, so not able to actually tell what you're thinking. So you go ahead and give us an idea as to what you might think about things. For our final weather window picture of the week, thank you very much, Bill Banzoff, for a nice view from around Polk County. And again, this is a sunlit view from areas into and around eastern Polk County. So we've got some pretty mild conditions, it looks like, for this one particular picture, and not doing too bad otherwise for now through the weekend. We could use more pictures. If you've got them, please go ahead and send them in like Mr. Banzoff did for our West Shore Home weather window picture of the day. Got pictures? Here's what you do. Drop into the comments section of our social media pages, or just email them to us at pictures@wdef.com. Should be seeing, again, maybe a drop or two in the temperatures, but I don't think we're going to break our low temperature from this morning. Came within 11 degrees of breaking or tying that one, and we are still, again, way off where it comes to rainfall. Next best chance of rain, from what we can see into the semi-near future, is going to be about this time next week. So maybe Friday Night Football will catch a few raindrops. That's worth it, though, because we've got, again, the potential of some very dry and dangerously so conditions. Winds picked up to about 17 miles per hour at the airport today, and any wind, any time, is going to be able to take a wildfire and push it that much faster, and that's exactly what we do not need at this time. It'd be nice to kind of get things calmed down by a little bit, and at least get something to kind of tamp down the fire danger. Right before 10 o'clock, temperatures across the Tennessee River Valley back into the mid to upper 40s to the lower 50s back over towards Scottsboro in Alabama. Dew point temperatures, again, that's a measurement of the air temperature completely saturated. So if these temperatures were a lot closer to the air temperatures that you just saw, it'd be a lot more humidity, maybe even some fog out there and some more clouds low to the surface. But as of right now, the dew point temperatures and the air temperatures are still well apart, and that means we're getting some exceptionally dry air. This is higher. The dew point temperatures have been rising a little bit as the daytime comes to an end and the moisture level increases, but it's still very dry, and we're still looking at the potential for some wildfires to be forming out there for tonight. Little hazy. You're looking off around Highway 64 and 153 from Lee Point, from the Plainview Outdoor Advertising Plaindoor Outdoor Advertising camera on the EPB Fiber Optics WeatherCam network. You can also, from around the downtown area on the Bailey's Heating and Air camera, you can see a lot of that smoke looking off toward Raccoon Mountain off in the distance, Lookout Mountain over here, and looking across I-24. So a lot of that is hanging around the Tennessee River Valley, and we can continue to see some of that smoke over portions of the area. If you saw some of our pictures that we put up over the last couple of days, some of that wildfire smoke from localized areas, some of that coming in from other wildfires, and we'll show you how close those things are coming up here in just a little bit. Also want to take a look at this. from the News 12 studio, and this is kind of interesting to take a look at. Usually we're able to see straight out clear to around Signal Mountain, and you can see some of the lights out this direction, so you can see a little bit. Broad Street here just north of the News 12 studios on the Patriot Concrete camera. Notice again right on in through about there. Let me get Twitch TV so I can get lined up on this. Right about in this area here, that is the pollutants of the day settling down toward the surface. So what we are seeing is both the pollutants we usually pick up from our fossil fuel use. Some of that is dust, yes. A lot of that tonight is smoke, and that is going to be hanging around. So as the atmosphere calms, we may see some degraded air quality into very early Saturday morning. We'll take a look at air quality index coming up here in just a little bit. Traffic around Chattanooga Red Wolves Stadium at 2475. Tomahawk Crane and Rigging Camera, they're doing occasional work. Again, they're not stopping traffic all the time back on 24 westbound, and usually 75 north gets backed up at this point. But so far for Friday night, this is very good traffic in south central Chattanooga. Beautiful weather from downtown, from the North Shore at the Chattanooga Theater Center, looking over the Tennessee River. Coolidge Park, the bridge, picking up a lot of foot traffic today as a lot of people were out and about on the Speedy's Total Car Care camera. Thank you very much for being a sponsor there. All these cameras available on the EPB Fiber Optics WeatherCam network, and you can pick that up by going to WDEF.com/weather for more. Mainly clear skies. Sylvester the Spider was there earlier, has now cleared out at Island Cove Marina and Resort. Decently clear for now. Should be hopefully good viewing conditions. The Chinese space station will be flying overhead early on Saturday morning into and around the area of about 7 o'clock Eastern time. So you should be able to see that. We'll try to post that to our social media pages coming up a little bit later tonight if we can. Temperatures as of just right before 10 o'clock back in the mid to upper 40s at the Chattanooga airport, and decently dry dew point temperatures. Winds are currently calm, so we're not looking at too much in the way of a breeze. About the midpoint of the temperatures here, upper 50s around the Wabash Valley in Indiana and down toward the mid-south, also up toward eastern Kentucky, lower 40s around Bristol. And also seeing again temperatures here back in the mid-40s, so we're not quite as cool as we could be, but not necessarily dry either. What we are is hazy, and what we also see is more smoke. This is a computer model that is suggesting that over the next several days, we're going to be looking at a lot more in the way of developing smoke from fires out across the area, and that means with high pressure sitting back to our east, we're going to continue again to look for the potential of maybe some more smoke coming on through, and that is where we really start to see the problems out there, especially for anybody with lung ailments, because if we continue to see this dry weather continuing, then we could be looking at the potential for a lot of this smoke hanging around. Seems to be either feast or famine around here, to where we get a decent amount of smoke or a decent amount of clear skies. Not really too much right in the middle where we get just sort of hazy conditions. Right now, again, with the potential that we've got for that area of high pressure, notice again that circulation here, that is where we're seeing that high pressure keep the smoke in place, and then starts to get a little thicker according to what we're seeing here. So we will get that potential for higher amounts of wildfires, and that means more amounts of smoke coming on through, and that means not great conditions. We have no red flag warnings. We have no fire advisories from the National Weather Service at this time. It's a good bet we will see that as we get into the rest of the weekend, especially with conditions like this. This is updated by the United States Drought Monitor Service. This also from the University of North Carolina, if I'm not mistaken, and we got upgraded this week in a big way to an extreme drought situation across much of the News 12 viewing areas. So we continue to look at some very good conditions for wildfire developments. The last 24 hours of fire development in the yellow and orange dots, the brand new fires within the last 12 hours in the bright red categories, and look at how many we picked up over just the last 24 hours over parts of the southeastern United States, from New York to Texas. hundreds of new wildfires popping up. This available from the VIIRS system, the Visible Infrared Imaging Radiometer Suite, and this is showing us some pretty ugly conditions out there for right now. We also managed to pick up, we had a couple of fires on Lookout Mountain yesterday in Georgia, and it looks like we have another one, basically two of them right in the same area, one back around Raccoon Mountain and another one around Lookout Mountain in Georgia, also some into around Jackson County, Alabama, and all the way back over to around Whitfield County, north and east of Dalton, showing up in those areas there. The one north of Dunlap, that one appears to be not a problem at this time, and then just south of the area in, I believe, that's Bartow County, that again showing fire from yesterday, but not showing anything else in the last about 24 hours for our particular area. Thankfully, tons more well on down to our south, and that's going to continue into around the next several days. Running the numbers into, well, let's see, let's go ahead and if I can find it back here real quick. Again, into the next several days, we wish we could give you a little bit more in the way of rainfall. We've got an atmospheric river with new storm systems approaching the west coast of the United States, and that at this point is going to be some of the best news that this area has had in quite some time, as we see the potential for more fires being put out by heavier amounts of moisture making its way into and around portions of the area of the Pacific Northwest, which is exactly what they need at this point. So as of right now, what we really need to get is some of that moisture coming back our direction, and we just are not seeing too much of that at this point for us. It'd be nice, but we're just not getting it for right now. So again, we're just not picking up anything of what we actually need. Pardon me for a second. I'm trying to get the color balanced on Twitch TV so we can actually see the screen behind me. What this is doing is showing a jet stream moving these storm systems very quickly from west to east, and we're going to continue to see that. We've got high pressure here. That's keeping things very much on the quiet and dry side and warmer as the air turns back up out of the south. Passing storm system might give us, as it weakens, a few clouds, but the main system for right now is this atmospheric river blaring on shore and then pushing these storm systems. It is called zonal flow, going very quickly from west to east, and that's exactly what we've got here right now. So any chance of these storm systems, any chance of any storms developing along a more wobbly, less zonal flow is not going to happen as long as we have, again, all these jet stream push coming on through with this atmospheric river. This is also going to act as kind of like an air dam to where it keeps the very cold air back to the north and the mild air down to the south. So we do not get anything in the way of big temperature changes. We will see the numbers head back up again as we get into the next several days, and we'll show you that on the 7-day forecast here in just a little bit. Overnight into the weekend, we continue to see some chilly numbers, maybe some patchy frost from time to time, but otherwise not bad. If you take Saturday and multiply it 2 times, you get an idea as to what the whole weekend is going to be. So maybe a few clouds on Saturday, passing through the area on Sunday, chilly but not exactly frosty, and then back in the lower to mid 70s as we get towards Sunday afternoon. Monday morning, bus stop time for the kids back in the lower 40s, and then early on Monday afternoon, it looks like lower 70s will be exactly where we wind up again. So the numbers continue to be very stable into the next several days. Beyond that, this is what we are taking a look at for now. Again, the potential for anything involving rainfall starts our direction. Notice the big gap here. That's that area of high pressure we've been talking about. So the next storm system that might have enough oomph to make it all the way down this direction will start to move some moisture our direction, and that passes into the area as we get to around Wednesday into Thursday. And that is, again, you can see some pitifully small amounts taking place here. The next best chance is that front moves on through and hopefully taps into some moisture from the Pacific, maybe off of the Gulf. That gives us our next best chance of anything involving rainfall, and that is going to be very short-lived. So Wednesday, maybe a little bit late in the evening. Thursday and Friday, That'll be our next best chance of any rainfall anytime soon. Beyond that, chances of rain really don't come our direction until we look into and around Monday in the middle of the month. That right there, with a storm system coming up from the Gulf and off of Mexico, excuse me, that again is where we might see some more widespread showers. We'll take whatever we can get at this point because it is just dangerously very dry out there, and will continue to be so. All right, next 7 days, here's what it looks like for now, and keep in mind that this will be changing out there for right now. Bishop Bob Midget checking in on Facebook. Good evening to you. Say hello to Mr. Josh for me. The jacket, exact same color as my Humboldt High School jacket. Well, your Humboldt High School has good taste in colors, because that's what University of Kansas colors are. So Rock Chalk Jayhawk, and thanks to everybody for tuning in. Hope everything's going on well south of Chattanooga, down in Georgia for you gentlemen down there. Okay, into the next few days, very much on the dry side. Change your clocks back 1 hour Saturday night before you go to bed. Don't forget to change your smoke alarm batteries. Don't forget to change your weather alert radio batteries. Make certain you're ready for severe weather season. Second severe weather season is coming up in the next couple of weeks to the next month or two as a hurricane season comes to an end. Then our severe weather season for the end of the year begins. So from roughly late October through about early December, that'll be the next severe weather season here. No severe weather showing up at this time. Chances of rain, again, as we said, late Wednesday, better chances late Thursday into early on Friday, and that is not really looking at all that much at this point. So some drizzles possible, very mild, temperatures going above normal. Normal at this time of the year for us is about the upper 60s for highs. Back in the lower 80s possible as we head toward Wednesday, and then cooling off into the 60s as some colder air makes its way southward. Not the Arctic blast we just saw for Halloween this week. It's looking like it is going to be cooler, yes, closer to just below normal. So some good news there, but for right now, that's about as good as it gets for the temperatures. So expecting some very mild numbers. Cool at night, that'll be comfortable. During the day, looking at some fine spell of St. Luke's summer coming up. Numbers back again into the upper 70s to lower 80s. That's about 10, 12, 15 degrees above normal for this time of the year. So we'll be getting into that warmer conditions for a while before our next dip in the temperatures coming up into next weekend. Kind of hard to say if that rain's going to be sticking around for Veterans Day on the other side of this forecast, but that is well into the future, and we'll have updates on that for you coming up throughout the rest of the week. So definitely want to stay tuned again for more on that. For anything in the tropics, we do not have really too much of anything else. Let's take a look at that for just a second. We've already skipped over on Friday on the Food City Certified Angus Beef Grill Cast. If you're out there right now, picture perfect evening for grilling. A little milder into the next couple of days. Temperatures back into the mid to upper 60s through the weekend. Once again, anything that involves fire, flame, please be very careful. Using that lighter fluid, watching out for any sparks that drop off the grill from time to time. Even with stuff on a gas grill, something could light itself on fire. Nice gust of wind could come along and poof that out into a pile of leaves or dry grass. And if you're not paying attention, that again could be a major, major problem in a minor amount of time. So now's the time to watch out for anything going on. For again, anything with fire or flame this weekend, just please use extreme caution to watch out what goes on. But otherwise, very nice conditions overall throughout the rest of the weekend for getting out and hitting the grill. So we continue again to see some nice numbers out there for the time being. But for right now, not much of any relief in sight. The entire Atlantic basin is quiet at this point, from the United States all the way over to Africa and into and around the equator. We're not seeing anything develop. The only thing we've got at this time is this disturbance wandering toward Nicaragua. This one shows a 10% chance of development in the next week. Started off over south of areas around Hispaniola and down south of Jamaica. Wandering its way to the west, it's in no particular hurry to get anywhere, and it doesn't seem like this is going to be developing. So we still have Vince and Whitney as the last two named storms of the season. Whether or not we make it that far, we still can get hurricanes at this time of the year very easily. The surface of the water, the temperatures there, perfect for developing stuff rapidly, especially into the Gulf. So we're not out of hurricane season yet. We've got about 30 days to go, a little less than that, and we'll be done with the season. And we'll see how well we wound up on that into the next couple of days through about the end of the month, so stay tuned for more on that. Barnard Astronomical Society will be holding a star party at Harrison Bay coming up in the Recreation Hall parking lot next week, Saturday, Veterans Day, 5:30 to 10 p.m. Remember, that's going to be darker a lot earlier out there for use of those telescopes. If you'd like to know more about it, learn more about the club, learn more about their practices and where they're setting up for their other events, they have their websites here, so you can check out more there. The University of Tennessee Chattanooga Clarence T. Jones Observatory was going to be holding a star party coming up tomorrow. Remember the 5th of November. Unfortunately, due to a fire at the observatory, it's not a major one, but it was enough to kind of knock the schedule into some disarray while cleanup takes place and the investigation went on. So this will be canceled for this time around, again on the 5th. But hopefully the next one after this will go on as planned. If you'd like to know more about that, again, their website's available there. And to check out more about what's going on with what's happening in local astronomy, keep it tuned here for more on that. Nothing happening this weekend, so this will be a perfect time to get your weather radio program. If you'd like to know how, we've got a short video to tell you more about this. We can help you stay safe during severe weather, so go to wdef.com/weather for more information there. Have to thank Miss Quall's third grade class and all the third graders at Benton Elementary today. Had an awesome time talking with them. If you'd like to have us in your classroom, you have to make the request at our website at the Food City Weather in the Classroom program. Go to wdef.com/weather for more information on that. We'd love to know more about what your classes would like to see out there. We have a different presentation for the little ones, kindergarten, first grade, than we do for, say, third grade and up, where we tackle more about science and weather safety. Kindergarten, first grade, I tend to read a weather book and talk with the kids about how they feel about weather. 20 minutes tops, again, for attention spans and for teachers' schedules. But anything higher than that, we'll tackle a lot more complex science and mathematics issues, including how to do your own forecast with the weather we use to do the forecast here. Had a volunteer today. She did an absolutely excellent job on the weather. So again, please let us know at the Food City Weather in the Classroom program for more details on that. We'd love to be able to hear from you there, and we'll try to get you into the schedule before the end of the year. That should do it. It's Friday night, so it is very much on the quiet side, thankfully, for Friday Night Football and for everything else. The rest of the weekend looks pretty clear. Meteorologist Todd Heislip will have your forecast on Saturday and Sunday nights at 11 o'clock. Chip Chapman will be back on Monday morning starting bright and early at 5 a.m. And, of course, I'll have more tonight on the foreshortened edition of News 12 News at 11. Friday Night Football coming up immediately after my weathercast at about 10 after 11. So we'll have a little bit of news, a little bit of weather for you, and then straight on into sports. Been an active season and a very active night in Friday Night Football. Rick Nyman and Brian Armstrong have more on that coming up tonight, again, on News 12 at 11. Check out our website and a whole bunch of other neat stuff, wdef.com/weather for more information there. I'm Chief Meteorologist Austin Onig. This has been the Friday night, November the 3rd edition of Weather Overtime. Stay tuned for much more coming up with News 12 on air and online. Hope that you have a happy and safe weekend coming up, and we'll see you with more Weather Overtime coming up on Monday evening. Join us then.